Latest organization to get hit by ransomware attack was Tata Power company. Reported to Bombay Stock Exchange that their servers were attacked by Hive, and there was a case of data breach a few weeks ago. Now, reports suggest bank accounts of the company, bank statements, and details of employees, including their remuneration and passport information, were revealed on the dark web. Now, if you have been a victim of such a strike, what action should you take? To find all of that out, we have Ritesh Bhatia, founder V for Web Security and Cybercrime Investigator. Thank you so much, Ritesh. Good evening. Obviously, it's not the first case of ransomware attack that's coming up, but then the question and the point in concern over is the data of the consumers that these companies have. But before that, please explain us, what do you mean by a ransomware attack?
Okay, so Kavita, many thanks for having me on your show. Let's break ransomware into two parts, ransom and the ware. The ware stands for the software. So any particular software that I have installed on your particular machine, and then now I'm asking a ransom for it, is like ransomware. So it's a category of malware. Again, malware has two parts, malicious and the software. So a malicious software. So ransomware is a part of this malicious software, is actually a malware, which when installed on your machine, it encrypts all the files. Now, what do I mean by encrypt? Like all your files, whether it's a JPEG file, a PDF, a Word, Excel, all sorts of files, even a TXT file, they're all like encrypted, they're locked. And you just can't open it. There are no decryptors or keys available unless they are the old, they are affected by the old ransomwares. So ransomwares also has many categories. Now the one, so what happens typically is, you just download an attachment or you click on a particular link and something like comes at the background and it gets installed and you will see all the files are encrypted. Now, whenever you try to open, you're not able to open. There will be just one file on your desktop. The moment you will click it, it will open up and it will tell you, look, you got like 72 hours or you got like 96 hours, something like that. It will tell you, depending upon the ransomware gangs. Yeah, these are like organized gangs which attack your systems. So it will tell you that you need to pay this much money to us. So it could be like, let's say $500 or $1,000 or even $300, and you need to pay them in Bitcoin. They will give them a wallet address and even a link where you can chat with them over the dark web. And that's where you like negotiate with them and pay them and then ask for your keys. So overall, this is what a ransomware is. And the prevention as on date is, of course, having your systems up to date, antivirus. You don't click on any particular links or specifically attachments which you're not aware about. And the most important thing, backup, backup, backup. I'm saying this 3 times because you need to understand you really need to have 3 copies of backup. So one could be on your computer where you're working, that's your original one. The second, you have taken it on some other device, let's say on a CD or an external hard disk, which is kept somewhere else. And the third backup has to be somewhere on the cloud. So, 3 copies of your files is extremely important. So even if you're encrypted, at least you don't encourage those hackers by paying them ransom. You can quickly restore from your backups. Kavita.
This ransomware attack can happen with anyone. It's not only big corporate houses and companies talking about it. It can happen with individuals also, right?
Absolutely. Like if you see, Kavita, every 11 seconds, there is one ransomware attack, every 11 seconds. Now this can happen with you, with your organization. It has happened like even at the biggest of the organizations, the largest of the tech companies also have been affected. Generally, the critical infrastructure companies, like we heard about Tata Power, they have been affected. Every 11 seconds, you'll hear somebody or the other being infected. But what's happening is ransomware is also evolving now. Earlier, they would just come infect. You had a data backup. You would just say, okay, forget it. I don't care. I don't have to pay because I have a backup. You would like kind of, retrieve your data. But now what they do is, like the case that is happening with Tata Power also, what is happening over there, they first exfiltrate all your data. So whatever data is there on your servers, is there on your machines, they take all the data and then they inform you that, look, we have encrypted, but at the same time, we also have the data. So now company will say, I don't care, you can have the data, but I have my backup. So they started recovering. Now these guys feels very, very like egoistic or hurt or whatever you want to call it, angry. And then he says, okay, look, let me teach you a lesson. He starts exposing that data on the dark web. He says, look, for example, let's say in the case of Tata Power, this is Tata Power. This is the entire server data. And when even I accessed the particular data, I was able to see a lot of like confidential files. So now they slowly
Exactly,
release
that's what
all the files.
confidential files I'm talking about, Ritesh, because here what has happened in this particular case is the bank accounts of the company, bank statements, detail of employees, including the remuneration and passport information went
Yes.
on the dark web. So it's super confidential and it could be controversial in a lot of cases also, which could damage you, the brand, the positioning of the brand, and it's going on the dark web. So including all of this, how harmful is this dark web? Could you also simplify, because the name itself sounds very scary, and I really don't know how many people are aware of what exactly is the dark web.
Okay, so simply put, dark web is something where where your normal browser doesn't work. It's a space on the internet. So whatever we see, like right now, I'm using a particular platform, or if I'm checking my mails and everything, this is the surface web. Now below the surface web, and this surface web is accessed by our browsers like Chrome, Safari, Firefox. But below the surface web, there is the main part which is called as the dark web. Okay, and on this dark web, these particular browsers won't work like our normal browsers. You actually need to get into a different network. And for that network, let's say you use a Tor browser. There are 2-3 ways to access the dark web, but I'm talking about the most popular way, which is using a Tor browser. You get onto the Tor browser, and these websites will end with .onion. So it's basically the onion is because one layer after the other you keep peeling, and then you get to the bulb of it. So the same way you go from one node to the other node to the third node, and then you will get the information. So this is what is primarily what is dark web. 99% it is used for all these stuffs like selling drugs, prescription drugs also, and these chemical drugs as such, guns, identities, passports, identity cards, credit card data, all this is available on the dark web. But majorly now it is like a heaven for all these hackers who come and also start talking about the corporates whom they have exposed, and they just put up the data over there. So in short, this is what is a dark web for you.
So on a company level and at an individual level, if you're a victim of a ransomware attack, what can be done? What would be the damage control strategy?
So let's say it is going to be different for different types of organizations.
Yeah.
Let's say for example, if it is just you alone, it's just one machine. Like I get so many calls on a daily basis that have been infected or not. If it is one particular machine and you don't have a data backup, there's nothing that you can do except for paying over there, or you recreate your data. Now that's a call that the victim has to take, because he has a choice. Of course, nowhere we are telling you people, we are neither, I'm sure neither the channel nor I am encouraging people to go and pay a ransom. Definitely that should not be the case. But sometimes you have to take a call. I know some people who took the call, they said, no, Ritesh, to recreate this entire thing will be like years of work. I'd rather take a risk and pay them. Sometimes they have paid and they have got the data back. Sometimes they haven't got the data back. So it's not a foolproof thing that the moment you pay, you're going to get your data back. As far as organizations are concerned, they generally have a data backup. They have a proper team with them who will get back, who will come with the data, and then they will reinstall it. And sometimes even they want to negotiate. We will negotiate with the hackers that, okay, look, what is that you really want? Because we don't want the data to be on the dark web. Now, again, over here, there are many people who say you don't have to pay the ransom or anything. No, we are not paying the ransom to get our data. We already have our data. We would want to do something so that the data of the customers, of the citizens, of the users is not over there. So of course, this is not going to go by you pleading or begging and telling them, please don't do this, will hurt. We've tried all those stunts, it doesn't work. So sometimes they'll say, okay, look, it's nice that, you're concerned about the privacy of people. So we are moving it ahead, but just pay us some particular bounty or an amount. And, that's still a fair thing, because then we also ask them, tell me how did you get into it. So maybe that is the money you pay them to get the particular knowledge. So this is what generally the companies do. But I am pretty impressed with Tata Power. At least they had that courtesy kind of a thing to come and inform the security exchange and even CERT. Let's remember, it's very mandatory that whenever you have a ransomware attack or any incident, any cyber incident, you are supposed to report to Computer Emergency Response Team of India, which is called as the CERT, and that too within
That's
6
where you
hours.
need to officially file your complaint. So unfortunately, the time is up. But thank you so much, Ritesh, for coming in and explaining what's a ransomware attack and how can you avoid it. Thank you so much.